So there we go. Let me do this real quick because it's time to start the show. Good morning. Happy Sunday, everybody. How's everybody doing this great weekend?
Pretty good.
Yeah, doing really good.
All right. Today we got a special guest panelist. We have, and then, let me get that off of the screen. I am just so behind here. There we go. Welcome, Gray. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's so awesome that you invited me. Big fan. So awesome that I got to be here. So
tell people what you do and how they should look forward to seeing something that's coming up later.
I make YouTube videos supposedly. I've been in about 3 of them that I've been working on forever. So one day they'll drop. But yeah. Hey, what's up, Nico? So one day I will have other videos, but until then, I'm always on That Darn Kiddos Thursday Thinkers thing. That's always awesome. So check me out there. And then Cole and I also have a pretty cool podcast on Tuesdays, the Red Blue Pod. So check that out.
Sweet.
Other than that,
is that a political kind of thing?
Videos again. Just go through movies and TV shows.
There was a Wednesday one they do though, where it's a tad bit political, but they mainly just talk about like life things with questions. Like they've been trying to find someone who leans more towards the left for it, and they still can't.
It's
left-leaning people are actually hard to find.
I know a bunch of them, but it's hard to get them to want to come on and talk.
Usually busy with other things.
You may hear my kids in the background. They're actually playing with each other for the first time this year, so it's awesome. They're
Is
online.
that their New Year's resolution?
No, it's just a concession to their mother. So they're playing online, so they'll be loud and obnoxious here in a little bit, and it'll be awesome to hear them just having fun, amusing themselves. So that's what's going on here. Cole, what's happening in your line of the world?
Not much right now, but just a lot of construction, and I'm working at a security job right now, and then streams, I guess, and then other hobbies, trying to write. So that's about it.
You still protecting the avocado trucks on the highways? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, and yeah, for the record, yes, I do live in Mexico. Wink, wink.
Well, I'm glad you're doing it. That's it's a mighty noble deed you're doing. We all need those avocados.
Cartels have gone heavily in the past few years into the avocado trade because they're making so much money, and they're actually getting us licensed to it. So
yeah, well, I buy so many avocados, so I'm glad to support them.
Yeah, the resale on those are phenomenal for you. So helps to buy the cocaine. So have you been? Gray, have you been keeping up with the Jonathan Majors?
I have. I got to be honest. I think I missed this particular one, but I'd kind of heard the back and forth, like both sides kind of releasing their things, and then I heard that some video had just gotten released, but I haven't really kept
that
up
was
on
the
it.
funniest
So
thing
I know
ever.
everything up to this point.
It was like a Mad TV skit.
Well, let's.
I saw a meme of some. Please.
Let's do this real quick. And the trial started, I believe it was last week, and it's supposed to have ended this past week. We were hoping to get a verdict on Friday, but the people are having a hard time coming to a decision on what harassment is. I did not cue up the Benny Hill music for that, Cole. I really meant to do that. The footage of him running from the woman, the little
if you want, Nerdman made a version of it. If you want to pull that up,
is that he's got that with the Benny Hinn music? Not
with that, with some other music, and then he
I confused a Texas comedy of the '70s with a faith healer. So.
Yeah,
Benny
he made
Hill.
like a joke, like what did he say in the beginning? Let's yeah, Jonathan Majors tracked by the Terminator 2023, otherwise known by White Karen.
So in the video, he's it's clear that he's gets out of the vehicle, puts her back in, and this is the harassment part, by the way. This is the part where supposedly she gets cut behind the ear and she gets her finger broken at this point. Okay. So he's putting her back in the car, and she does not want to stay in the car, but they're in the middle of traffic. So he helps her across the street through traffic and then tries to make distance from her. She then grabs him by the coat and the arm, and he swings back, and he finally pushes her away, and then starts channeling. Fill in your favorite track star, and takes off.
Usain Bolt, okay.
I think that's the only part that I've seen is the meme of just him running. So yeah,
and
like that's making the rounds, but I didn't see everything that led up to it.
In Italian shoes, no doubt. So
yeah,
on the streets of New York,
she's keeping up pretty good, and I think she has heels. So I don't know, she deserves some credit too.
She deserves some credit, but he finally breaks free of her. And I guess he's in contact with the car, and the car swings itself around at some point, and she finds some friends outside of a building to start laying down some claims about what's going on and how she's an innocent victim in the whole thing. And he tries to make his way back to meet the car, so he passes her up. She reaches out for him. He pulls away, keeps going. She then tracks him again. This time they get into the vehicle together, and all hell breaks loose again in the car. And in this video, they show there's more video now out of the second time that they're in the car. Some people are calling it car video number 2. So in this, before you couldn't see his shirt. As he gets out of it, you see the hands flailing at him, and he gets out, and his shirt, his white shirt is now clearly visible because she has snapped off his buttons and pulled on his jacket and ripped his thing, and then he takes off. So that's the entire incident.
Okay,
what happened?
So what you're saying is he should get life in prison.
What I'm saying is that when she was talking to the people in the street that she eventually went to a nightclub with, there was no blood coming down the back of her neck. Now, the photos that the prosecution showed a tremendous snapping gap, like you would see on the cheek of a boxer who got popped. It stretches the skin to the point where it just snaps open. It's not jagged, it's just clean, and it's just the outer epidermis because you can see the flesh underneath it, right? I mean, it's huge. It spans the whole back of the ear. And that thing, had it happened when she said it happened, when he beat her up in the car and then left her there, that would have been all over her shirt. If he had broken her finger in the car by twisting it like she claimed, she probably wouldn't have done anything like she had done then. Because what you do is, if your hand hurts, you mess with it. You're doing these things. You're looking at it to see if you can still move it. You can do that. It wasn't a compound fracture. It was a hairline fracture inside. So she still had, I'm going to use the wrong word. Yeah. She still had flexibility in her hand. The only time you saw her was when she was passed out in a closet in their bathroom in this 3-story apartment, New York. Man, that's a lot of money. And it's when the cops show up and through their body camera that she starts looking at her hand going, what the hell is this? She's flexing it. It's purple. She's looking at it. So she wasn't doing that in the nightclubs with her hand. She was using her hand, smoking with one hand, drinking with the other. Nightclub footage shows that. She's doing her thing. She's out there partying. There's no blood anywhere. None of that shows up. There's no blood on her in Jonathan Major's apartment when she was laying there, laid out flat in the closet. At some point over the weekend, her finger is broken. She's got a snap cut on the back of her ear that bled. It had to have bled, and it got cleaned up. So there's some other things that were not in. Oh, good morning, Bry. Good to see you this morning. So she had claimed, all of these things happened at that one point in time, and it's clearly visible through the video that it didn't happen during that time. In fact, everything that she was going to be charged for did happen, where she assaulted him, she followed him, she scratched him. All that evidence is there. What wasn't admitted into the evidence for the jury to see is that minutes that he came home at a certain time and called 911. After the 911 call, just minutes after the 911 call, because he was afraid she had overdosed, she texted her friend. And that was moments before the police arrived, because the police were pretty darn quick in his neighborhood. There's the speed of justice travels like that. So they came in. He called 911. He told them where she was at. He took them to her. He described what he found when he got there, and that she was worried about suicide. And within minutes of that, they arrested him and took him down to jail. So that's where we're at. That's where the jury's at. And they didn't get to see everything. They didn't get to hear all of the audio from the officers who showed up. Their body cam, they got to see the body cam. They didn't get to hear the audio of the cops interviewing her and questioning her more than 20 times whether or not Jonathan Majors did anything, and how she said no, she didn't think so. She didn't remember. She was unsure. She didn't know how it happened. Maybe he strangled me. I don't know. So they don't get to hear any of that. But they did get to hear audio that she recorded of him months before, after she came home drunk one day with friends to their home. And he admonished her for bringing them home, and saying that they had a plan for how his life was going to be, how their life together was going to be. And it seems to me that he was really, up until the point where he left the vehicle, he was interested in building a life with her, even after their September argument that she brought up in court. That was supposed to illustrate his mentality and penchant towards being a bully towards her. So he really wanted to build something with this woman, and I don't think it was worth it. Oh,
Oh, sorry. Did you say my name?
Counterpoint. We need you to argue in her favor now.
Wait, what? Me? Oh, okay. Yeah. Hold on. No.
yeah,
So
put the
I'll be
avocados
her,
down. Get back on the show.
Okay, so I'll be her lawyer. Okay, so here's the thing. What you don't realize and what you don't see in the footage there is that he did. So I don't know if you know who Todd Rogers is, but he's the greatest speed run video game player of all time, and his famous trick is he puts the game into second gear. All right, and I think that's what he did. He put himself into second gear, so then he gave her the Mike Tyson KO, but then it didn't leave a mark on her face until like 14 hours later. It's an old speed running trick. From the greatest player of all time right here. Yeah, but anyway,
that is a possible defense.
Yeah, this is why though you need to wait for all the info though, because on both sides, I'm glad I didn't pick sides, and this is why, because even in the middle of this, before the trial started, when we saw some of the footage, I mean, it shows that there might have been inaccuracies in it, but it still didn't 100% prove his innocence. That you didn't want to just completely then say he's 100% innocent yet, because for all we know, like, yeah, the footage where she's like in the bar and like using both hands, like
Well, this
maybe it
isn't South American justice. He doesn't have to prove his innocence. He has to prove, they have to prove his guilt.
Oh, I know. I'm just saying.
You'd
I'm just
think.
saying. You never know. Like maybe there were inaccuracies where there were marks on her hand, but maybe it did happen. It's just there wasn't in the heat of the moment, and like with adrenaline, just didn't feel it at the time. So that's why. So that's why you had to wait till after all the footage came out, really, and then it did, and then it showed okay, yeah, complete bullshit, and then the court stuff happened, and I'm just surprised that there's still no verdict yet. That's pretty amazing.
Warren, what do you think?
About the Johnson, this case. If Chillmonger was here, he'd be like, "This case didn't even need to happen. This is a deranged woman. It could have been black, white, Spanish, alien, Martian, whatever. Just they're crazy." And
Why did you say alien instead of Asian?
well, we can add that too. It's unnecessary. I'm glad that the evidence is showing that this man tried to be as civil as possible and knows the ramifications of what a woman can have on his career, and how he treaded lightly and did everything in his power to basically diffuse the situation. So it's just amazing to me that this case is going on. I'm you never want to put race in these things, but I can't see if this was like, I don't know, Chris Pratt, that this case goes on. I mean, he's married, right? So, but if this case was Chris Pratt, does this case go on, keep going on? Like, what are we doing here? That's what I'm finding really annoying about this case.
Well, I'll tell you what.
So
I'm sorry. Go ahead, Gray.
I was gonna say, I do have one kind of question. So like, it seems kind of obvious from the way that you've kind of like filled me in on this. So did the defense get to like bring up, like, she hasn't brought this up to these people at the club? Like, did they bring up the club? Like, does it seem to be going over with the jury the same way? I don't know. Has anyone kind of like taken a temperature or anything that of this? Or
the jury didn't get to see the nightclub footage. It was not pertinent to the case. Just like the audio
why
of
wouldn't
the
it
police
be?
officers.
Like, it seems like that would
the
establish
judge
it.
decided.
Like, I don't know.
The judge decided.
Damn.
It wasn't pertinent to the case.
You just hope that your lawyer could argue that like that's pertinent, and like you need that to establish that there isn't this direct evidence directly after the incident. But damn.
Well, there's a lot of stuff that was just not allowed at all into the case. Things that like that second video. The second video wasn't shown. There's audio of in a video that was not allowed to be heard. You can hear it up until the point they leave the screen, and then the judge decided, well, once they're off screen, we can't really determine whether or not it was those two that were yelling and screaming.
Yeah, well, hold on, but that audio that had nothing to do with like the court, this specific case, though, of him, like that one argument with someone, that was valid though to bring in.
Yes, that was definitely.
It goes towards
it establishes character, how he compares himself to Obama and Martin Luther King. Okay, it's important for everybody to know that where his mindset is in subjugating this white woman to his will. However, it's not important to hear how many times the police officers questioned her, what happened to her fingers and her neck and her ear. At the point right before they turn around and put him in handcuffs. That's not important. That's irrelevant, according to this judge. So
incredible.
Damn.
Yeah, I mean that audio thing when they played it. I don't know if any of you've seen it, but like it was like identical to this film this year, Anatomy of a Fall, where it's like about a murder case, and then they played this audio clip of a separate argument to try to use against the defendant to prove she's guilty of murder that had nothing to do with it and show nothing. It's like, this is literally that, but in real life.
Listen, for 6 months, the
Damn.
DA has claimed that Jonathan Majors has had a pattern of abuse towards women, and said they were interviewing dozens upon dozens of women who have come forward with allegations of abuse, and none of them were brought on trial. None of them were referenced during the trial. None of it was brought up. None of it was put into the discovery at all, because all of that was to try Jonathan Majors in the court of public opinion, not in the court of law. So that's what happened there. Um, and so
Hmm.
it's just it seems a little bit wonky, is what it does to me. It seems like there's, there was an interesting quote that has nothing to do with this trial whatsoever, but it is a trial that's going on, and it is happening in the state of New York. And the Attorney General of New York came out and said she just finished resting her case against Donald Trump, and was happy to note that the judge had found him guilty of money laundering and felonious acts prior to the case even starting. And so, here we have a judge who's found somebody
Yeah.
guilty before the trial started, and now she's claiming victory before the defense even gets to present their case in the state of New York, where this is happening to Jonathan Majors. I don't know if they found his donor list,
Mm.
if he happens to vote a specific way. But, it's a shame that he is being tried as a black man.
Well, yeah, that is kind of interesting. Not to like make you the legal analyst or anything like that,
Oh,
but
no, don't
without
take
that
legal advice from me. No.
information, without like that evidence of like at the nightclub, or like how long it was until like the injuries were reported, or that extra footage, does it seem like it's more of a damning case? Like, because obviously there are marks, and there's a male who is apparently a history. So I don't know. Does it seem like it is kind of? Do you know which way they would be tilting with the limited information they have, or
I think
would
they're
that be?
still tilting towards innocent.
Well,
Hmm.
lawyers who talk to each other, I overheard a couple of lawyers at one point, before they gave me this identity. I heard a couple of lawyers talk, and they were agreeing to the fact that at the time that they choose the jury, by the time jury selection is over, they know exactly how the case is going to go based on who they chose in the jury. And so I assume that whatever they were thinking, uh, either side probably agreed before they brought up the first witness and before they started their opening arguments on how they thought it was going to go. Both sides, I'm pretty sure they agreed it was either going to be this way or that way when they went into it. I don't think it's as clear now, because the longer it takes, the less likely it's going to be one way or the other. A fast jury knows right away whether they're guilty or innocent, and they come back really quickly with, excuse me, they come back really quickly with one of those judgments or the other. They go back there, they take a vote, it's unanimous, they come back guilty, not guilty. But of the counts that they had brought against him initially, about half of them were dropped right at the beginning of the trial. So none of the strangulation, none of the other stuff that they had also added onto it. I don't know what it is. If you want to know the best details of this particular case, what the charges are, what was dropped, what was left behind, definitely go to Chillmonger's YouTube channel, where he does the excellent recap. There's a reasonable doubt video that he dropped this morning. It's only about 6 minutes long. Go take a look at it. He covers everything about that, reviews the footage, talks about what the jury knows, what they don't know, what they weren't allowed to see, and everything else. So definitely for the best coverage. He's also does talks with other YouTubers. Some of the YouTubers were actually in the gallery during the trial this past week, and he's able to speak on that more clearly than I am. But as far as I'm concerned, I think probably Gray, your mic's muted.
Yeah, sorry, I was just gonna say, hell yeah, he's the reason why I know the limited amount that I know. His coverage is awesome. So yeah, I definitely second that. I just need to get up to date on it.
Yeah. So I think I think there was to me it felt like intimidation, but it wasn't. But it looked like it, but it wasn't. But it felt like it to me. The jury got the case right. They finished their final arguments, and right when they finished their final arguments, the judge said lunch, and they go to lunch. Everybody goes to lunch. So a couple hours go by. They come back. It's 3-something, and the cartel caught up with them. All right, so they come back, and they get about 2 hours to debate this. At about 4:20, the judge says, "Yeah, we're cutting it off. We'll come back tomorrow. So you'll resume deliberations tomorrow at 2:15." This whole trial they've been cutting out at 4:00, 4:30, and so when they come back on Friday, now they only got a couple of hours to finish this up, or they're going to have to stay the whole weekend and do that. So it seems to me like kind of a nudge to get it done. Get it done. Get your answer out. Get it done, or we're going to take this over the whole weekend. But they were asking for more videos. They asked for the video of him getting out of the car to be presented to them in slow motion so they could see that. They wanted a definition of harassment read to them, the legal definition. So it seems to me that already there is a reasonable doubt that he has committed any of the crimes that he's been charged with. And with a reasonable doubt, if you cannot prove a reasonable doubt, then you should say not guilty. That's just my opinion.
This is how it's going right now, right? This photo. That's exactly how it's going.
12 angry
Yeah,
men. Yeah.
I always kind of go back to that when I'm thinking of any trial. Do you think so? If they are thinking like not guilty on this, does that like get him reinstated and stuff, or is that just all gone because of the accusation? Like, do you see Marvel coming back to him?
Here's my personal opinion. They're gonna have to. I think he had something in his contract as well that about recasting. I believe I'm not sure if Showmonger mentioned that on his channel. But I think that they have to keep him, and it's cases like these set precedents, and also you have to figure that more women are gonna think twice. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not condoning domestic abuse. That's not what I'm saying.
No, there's public opinion. Nobody's going to take the time to dig into it. You just hear the accusation,
right? So
Warren says sometimes you need to hit a bitch. That's all.
You do sometimes. Sometimes you need a good slap up. So
Sean Connery has said similar things.
And he's right.
So the thing is that this case is, long story short, I don't think they get rid of him. I think he was the best thing about Quantum Mania that got released. His acting in Loki also showed that he's a very good actor.
No, you mean the only good thing, not the best thing?
Well, I think that movie had other issues, but whatever, But yeah, I think they keep him because what's the point? Like, why? If they recast him, they should have done it already. It's like that's the way I look at it. Because if you already had it in the notion, then recast him already and let the case go through, and he goes about his business, and everybody gets what they want.
But now here's the thing about Marvel. Okay, here's the one thing we know about Marvel consistently is that they will replace somebody at the drop of a dime. They do it with directors. They do it with writers. They will replace somebody in the middle of production and get these things changed and start reshooting immediately, even after the entire season is done. they will bring back the She-Hulk and continue to work on it until it is completely a dead horse. So when it comes to recasting him right now, they don't have to. They don't have to do that. Maybe he does have the T'Challa clause where there are no recastings. I don't know, but we do know
Is
that.
that the deal with that?
I
Because
know.
I mean, like, I know they've recast like War Machine, and I know they've recast, like Edward Norton as like the Hulk, but I don't know. Like, it seems like a lot of the big ones would be really tough to recast. I don't know, because you're right about like directors and stuff, but it kind of seems like that's behind the scenes, so it wouldn't be as public facing. But I don't know. I just wonder because like he was going to be like the kind of cornerstone of this whole like arc.
Yeah,
He
I
was
mean,
the new Thanos or whatever.
if you look at it from a certain point of view, they got what they wanted. The iconic black superhero that is popular with every demographic. That's what they wanted with T'Challa. They got it. Why mess that up? You're getting what you want out of it, and you've got all of these other characters that can continue to play off who they are. You run the risk of poisoning the well if you recast him and put him there. As coming from the executive point of view of that, that's the way some might think. Okay, we got it, we did it, it's good. We weren't going to do much more than that anyway. So let's just move on from that. General Ross, oh, that's a shame he died. Get Harrison Ford, pop him in there. Rhodey, we didn't want that guy in the first place. Let's get the guy we did want and put him in there.
Yeah.
That guy, the guy we wanted was busy when we were doing it. Now he's not busy. So let's let Terrence Howard walk away by offering him less than we gave him the first time around. So, the games that they play is just ridiculous. But the reason to recast T'Challa would be to continue that movement of having the really spectacular black character that resonates with everybody. That could be, just this astounding, just by sheer presence alone, a Superman. Okay. Not the Superman, not the same powers, not the same storyline, but the same impact as a Superman or a Batman, but with a person of color. And if you wanted that to be part of your main thing going forward, then yeah, recast them. But if you've gotten what you've wanted out of it, why waste the time? Why waste the money? You got a Shiri, and you've got another agenda to get to, where that is unspoken up front, but in every single detail is something that they're trying to push ahead. So they do these things.
Careful now. That graphic can get you labeled as something. But
this one,
I get it. It kind of got pushed ahead. I don't know. It was advertised quite heavily recently, so I would be interested to see if they're going to go ahead with the Avenged Girls.
Well, the second, you look at who's going to be the next group of Avengers. You got Kate Bishop, you got Cassie Lang, you got She-Hulk being the long-term mentor. Okay, they may have gotten rid of the show, I don't know, but they're not getting rid of the character. You've got you got the White Widow. Okay, I mean it's filling out pretty good so far. That's 4. You've got the America Chavez, Doctor Strange, Magic User, secondary. You have Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau. So that's what 5, 6, 7, 8 members of your Avengers right there that all happen to fit under a certain category. And I'm not saying that's a bad idea. But what I'm saying,
building up to her as well, but there is also going to be Riri, who's going to be introduced as Ironheart as well.
She was already introduced in the second.
Well, but I think she's announced as like after all of this. I can't remember exactly what year, but yeah, coming up soon is also Riri Williams taking over the Ironheart, female Iron Man, if you will.
And
I'm sure she'll be a part of it as well.
The importance of the story being told is more important than the quality of story. And that is the issue right now with Disney. They have a philosophy that was handed out to them in memo form years ago called "No Story Left Behind," to push forward the peoples of color and marginalized people. Uh, um, put a chicken and make her gay. Um, they they have this as
You're
a
supposed to
policy.
also make her lame.
Yes. Well, that's just the consequence of bad writing. So, I mean, I think it's possible. I think it can be done, but the writing it happens to be lame.
So
Um,
are they still sticking to that right now? Because like they've made a couple of changes. From what I hear, like when they're releasing Echo, like they're just going to dump it all at once. They're not doing it like spread out like they have been with all the other shows. Apparently, they don't have quite as much faith in that. And then also with the Marvels, they cut out like nearly 40 something minutes of it, where they got it down to 88 minutes. I don't know. Is this still part of the Nothing Left Behind, or are they trying to salvage because it seems like it's left behind? I don't know. I'm just wondering, like, is this the sign that this could be coming to an end, or is it still part of it?
I think they are still moving forward because we still have the same people in charge.
Hmm.
For now, there's a proxy war coming. It's exciting. There's some stockholders that are looking to get 2 seats on the board to upend Bob Iger and the whole thing that's going on there. They want to bring back Disney to the way it was, not to the way it is right now, because they've also ruined the parks with this sort of thing. You've got male um, fairy godmothers introducing girls to the clothing and clothing stores, fully bearded men in dresses showing off these things. It's in everything that they do because it's a part of its entire culture, and it starts at the executive level. Um, Chillmonger variant says the Black Ariel will be left behind when they return to displaying the Little Mermaid
Well,
1989.
I mean, movies and stuff. I think mostly there might be like some, you know, like cameo things with it or whatnot in the future. But I think when it comes to like the parks and stuff, I think they'll continue by doing that. I think they'll just have like all sorts of like race versions of that character and many others, because I think in the past they did that too, and then they kind of erased it afterwards. And I think now they're doing the opposite. They realize that and that criticism. So at like the parks and stuff, they're just kind of like having them all their old versions.
Now, going back to what we were talking about previously, Bryce says, I thought an assault case would have been more clear cut than it's been. I mean, how hard is it to tell if someone has been assaulted? You kind of feel an obligation. Okay. There's an obligation here. And I think it's because they have 3 women on the jury. Now, this is me being sexist. So let me put that right out there right now. Let me qualify this statement as sexist before it gets out there, because it is. These women feel a need to vindicate somewhat this woman who has come out to face her accuser. Okay. Which means that even if he's not guilty of assault, he might be guilty of harassment. So there's some finagling going on how the case should proceed. He can't be innocent of everything. He's got to be guilty of something. And that's probably due to the fact that they didn't get to see every little bit of evidence that was out there. And some of the evidence they got to see was not pertinent to the case, It's kind of like those old Menendez boys. Yeah, we killed our dad and our mother with a shotgun by blowing their heads off, but they were bad parents. Sure, we went off and partied on a boat, spending their money while they were rotting in the living room, but they were mean.
That was after the fact.
They were mean,
Yeah.
And so, they were not found completely guilty of murder in the first or second degree because their parents were mean. So, Jonathan Majors might be a good guy sometimes, maybe one or two times he was not, and he needs to be called to the mat on that because he's a man, and no man should get away with hurting a woman, especially her feelings. So I think they're struggling with how to reconcile what society expects of them as opposed to what might be legal. And it's not uncommon to find in a court case that is very high profile. This is not as high profile as the OJ case, where
It's pretty big though. I'm just
OJ's
saying, like,
case was found and judged by societal norms as opposed to the evidence provided. And I think that's what's going to happen with Jonathan Majors. I think they are going to find him guilty of something. Of
and
something.
at one time, yeah, it kind of seems like it. It seems like the court of public opinion at least has. But at one point they were talking about bringing charges against her. Am I wrong? But everything got dropped against her, right? Like,
Yeah.
she has no charges against him.
No, because she wouldn't come back to the United
video
States.
clearly shows her. Fair enough. It just that video clearly shows her like chasing him. So it's like if they're giving him harassment, like I don't know. I'd want to know their definition of it because it does seem like it would probably apply to somebody chasing you down across the street. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
I don't. You'd have to define that word. I don't know if that's exactly what was going on. In the
I
manner
believe that
that
was
this,
part of the defense, but yeah,
yeah,
in the Menendez thing.
yeah. But the thing is that everything that he is now currently charged with, she was going to be charged with as well. Okay. But the charges were dropped and she's testifying for the defense. So, I don't know if any deals were made. Sometimes deals are made. I know that the expert that they brought on, they were paying $200 an hour to be there. So they had a lot of stuff, that they were trying to make happen with money. And at the point when the defense started they didn't allow any of the videos out either during the defense. There was no reason for anybody to question anything about those videos because they weren't out, released to the public until the defense started to put their case ahead. As soon as testimony began and the defense was pleading its case, that's when these videos started to be dropped by the judge and allowed to be shared on social media during those time periods. Again, it's a matter of timing. Maybe in all cases, a judge says, okay, half of it's over. Let's let everything out. I don't know, but it seems like, it just seems suspicious to me. I would vote them off the spaceship if I was playing Among Us with the judge. Warren, your thoughts? Final thoughts on this?
Just get this case over with. We're wasting taxpayers' money on a crazy woman.
We've done that before.
And the funny part is, the only thing I gotta say is the funny part is this is making it cases like these and women like this are actually hurting the women that actually get abused. So they need to really, like, whoever is like trying, the companies, the media outlets, and whoever's like saying, oh, hashtag me too, and like, you're really hurting your case, because the more you have cases like these where you have these women making these allegations, and you have men that want to defend you, but now you're ostracizing and you're doing this, the men are going to be like, you know what, we don't believe you, because of what we constantly keep seeing now come up. So
I agree. This and the OJ case, like, come on now.
This guy's an idiot. Anyway, so
Good morning, Michael. Good
so
morning.
like
Yes.
Amber Heard, I'm sure we're gonna get another case next year, or probably the end of this year, and this is just gonna keep hurting the women's reputation in the. That's what I think. So
What hurts everybody's reputation is the generalization, and that's the one thing that Jonathan Majors was afraid of, is that the generalization that happens. He speaks in one recorded against his will, without his knowledge, rant, that he is doing things for not just himself but for his people, and black people, and his community, because he's working against a system that routinely works against them. Now, again, let's go back in history. At the very beginning of the case, I railed against systemic racism on this, and saying that it was systemic racism. I said Alvin Bragg is a black man. He's the district attorney of New York. The chief of police in New York is a black man. The captain of the precinct where he was arrested was a black man. The mayor of New York is a black man. So if there's racism going on, it's black people being racist against their own, and I don't see that as a thing that happens, because most people are worried about the Klan coming up and reviving the South and trapping me behind a border. So I live in the South. So you know as we went further and further on, it became more evident to me that what they were doing in continuing the case is protecting themselves and protecting the police officers that trumped up these charges against Jonathan Majors. Because if they let the case go, he might be able to find a way to sue for false imprisonment, false arrest, false this, false that, right? Defamation, all these things. If they dropped the charges before the court case or tried to settle, they would have to get him to agree not to pursue charges against any of the system. And he wasn't going to do that. No, they wanted to settle. They wanted him to agree to a lesser charge. They wanted to make it go away. They couldn't make it go away under their terms. So now the only way for them to do that was for them to present the case that was fallible, that will allow the jury to dismiss him and make it go away. The whole, it's not a Roman thing. You be the judge of this. I will wash my hands of it, and I won't be blamed for it. It's Christmas time, so I had to put a Christmas reference in there. So now it's there, okay? They didn't back down. They are not saying that anybody's doing anything wrong. If the jury finds him innocent, so be it. He won't be able to sue us to say that we did anything wrong because we presented our case. The way that that was reasoned out was in the court of law. We presented it. They didn't agree with it. It's all said and done. We did our job. It's within plausible deniability, right? But if they had settled beforehand, it wouldn't have been. So this is all to prevent Jonathan Majors from coming after them. That's why I think they kept going forward. And that's why I think they play dirty pool by releasing things at certain times while things are happening. I think it's all dirty pool to protect the system that is in place. Cops protecting cops is not a new thing. Cops protecting bad cops is definitely not a new thing. Bad cops trying to take advantage of a situation is not a new thing. So, the only problem is that you have a DA and Alvin Bragg who sees the system for what it is not willing to tear down the system and replace it with a system that is fair and balanced for everyone. And that's a shame. Gray, final thoughts?
Yeah, that really is a shame. I just wish it was more just and that, everyone was kind of weighted equally. But yeah, this is, I don't know. I like everyone else has been saying, I wish they'd get on with this. It seems a little bit more open and shut, but perhaps I'm not privy to everything that's going on. I do need to catch up on Chillmonger's coverage of it.
Yes, Chillmonger's got a great video that summarizes it. It's only 6 minutes long. Go to Chillmonger on YouTube, and you will be able to get the latest and greatest Jonathan Majors update. That's so I can edit it later. Little brackets on either side, so that lets me know
It
what's
would make it
next in the
easier.
timeline.
I think I'm learning
Yeah.
from you.
Yeah. Hey, do you have a headline intro for my criminal updates?
No. I try to admit that I know as much as I do, so I'm less liable in court.
Okay.
Probably shouldn't have said that. So, oh, this is interesting. A Florida man wants to sue GTA.
Nice.
Florida man
nice.
wants to sue a video game.
Be right back.
I don't know if you know this or not, but during the gaming awards, or right before the gaming awards, GTA let out a trailer. And the reason they let out a trailer for a game that's not going to be released for a while is because the trailer leaked online. And the trailer leaked online shortly after video footage of gameplay was leaked online by one of the developers' kids.
They
Oh.
announced that they announced they were going to release it, before those big leaks, but they planned to release it on the 5th, but then the trailer got leaked on the 4th, so on that day they were just like, screw it, watch it here now. So that's what happened. But yeah, some dude's kid who the guy who works there though, he showed some clips of it on TikTok. So rest in peace, that guy is probably fired now. Good job, kid.
So one of the things we noticed during this trailer of GTA happening in Florida was that they took a lot of viral video situations that we've probably all seen and news clips and did their version of it, their take on it. Nice little happy little, hey, look how crazy it actually is. And you get to be this crazy in our game. It's kind of like Florida Man the game is what they could have gone with, but they didn't.
A lot of people keep complaining why they keep going like in that same area though. Because that's the area that has like the craziest stuff that sums up like the most satirical part of like the US, and it also has a wide variety of like old things they can possibly see in the US, so it's just the perfect place. Like imagine if you tried making a GTA game in Alaska. I'm sure that would be fun. And
as a developer, why make a new map? So
well, yeah, and this isn't like new, right? Like I do remember them doing this quite before in kind of their packaging
big.
and advertising.
Like, I don't know exactly what she said, but Stormy, like in the role-playing community has talked with Rockstar. I believe they said something like the map's going to be like the size, like a city of like GTA 5, but then kind of like 3 of them and bridges, across, and also some islands actually this time, in the ocean as well.
Nice.
So,
but like, I don't know. Isn't this satire though? Like that's what I'm getting from like, it is satire.
It's all
America,
satire
kind
of American culture. Sorry, and
yes.
If it's that,
right.
then
Culture.
if it's that, then they can't really like successfully sue them for like doing that because it's not fully them. It's kind of like a satirical take on it, and you can't really like that's like if you tried going after Weird Al.
Well, you would think that you could not do that, but up there in the Great White North, there was a there was a hockey player by the name of Tony Twist, who was popular for a certain amount of time, and that name is just a fantastic name. It is a brilliant name, Tony Twist. If you say with a New York accent, it sounds like a gangster, a mobster. Tony Twist. Yeah. Hey, go see Tony Twist, huh? So you get a comic book guy by the name of Todd McFarlane who absolutely loves the name Tony Twist, hears it the same way I hear Tony Twist, and he makes a character called Tony Twist who isn't an ice hockey player. Ice hockey. I said ice hockey. I'm an old man, It's like, it's ice hockey. Oh no, I'm being threatened by a violence gang. Oh no. So Tony
But
Twist.
he's using the actual name, right? So like he's using Tony. Like he didn't switch it up and say like Tommy Twist or something.
There's some players who like gave nicknames, but that was his real name.
Yeah, that was his real name.
I just mean why not McFarlane say like Tommy Twist or Timmy Twist or something? Like why did he have to go Tony?
Do you hear it?
I understand.
Do you hear it when you say it?
Yeah.
That's why.
But Tommy Twist is pretty close to Tony Twist.
But
Like
it ain't
Tommy.
Tony.
I don't know. I think it's close.
Yeah, I think Tony, has more of like that joke factor with the Tony,
Tony. Anthony.
Fair.
So he uses it, creates his mobster character, and puts it in his comic books of Spawn. And nobody thinks anything of it because, it's a comic book. Only comic book readers read that. Not many hockey players are reading comic books. So it goes on, and he sells the rights to the Spawn to HBO. They start doing animations for it, and they have this animation of Tony Twist doing his mobster stuff and mean things and bad things, and it's put up on HBO. And somewhere in Nova Scotia, I'm making it up, I don't know where she lives, this kindly old lady is watching Spawn, the animated series for adults, on HBO, and she sees a guy by the name of Tony Twist doing these horrible things, and that guy Tony Twist happens to be her son, the hockey player, and she calls him up bawling and crying, wondering if he'd actually done any of the things in the show, because it's his name, and there he is. He's doing that.
I was about to say she's a cool mom, because she's watching Spawn. But really, if she could be like, "What? This thing that had the same name as you did this? Did you actually do?" I don't know. That doesn't seem like a cool mom anymore.
If you talk to any soap opera actors, you will find out that back in the day when they were popular, they would always get flack from people who saw them on the streets of New York for the things that their characters did, because it was really hard to separate one from the other, which is what's probably, that's a big thing, is that you can't separate the character from the actual person, So once he gets this call from his mother, that's when he decides he's going to take action, and he sues HBO, and he sues Todd McFarlane, and he sues the comic book company, all for using his name without his permission and besmirching him and everything else. Todd McFarlane is anything if not a fighter, and he fought it in court, tooth and nail. He spent millions fighting this in a Canadian court or in a New York court. I'm not sure exactly where it was done, but he lost. All he did was use the name. Everybody has, there's a lot of people out there with the names, with people's names. There's probably a Walt Disney out there that can't do things because of the Disney company. He can't start his own plumbing company because, Walt can't, because he'll be sued by Disney for using the name Walt.
Yeah, they almost wasn't able to use No Man's Sky, that game name, because Sky TV tried to sue for it, and they sued Microsoft from using Sky Drive, so they changed it to OneDrive. It's ridiculous, some things like that, and that was extremely ridiculous, just a name like that. That's the equivalent of some that old documentary called Simba King of Beasts. If you sued then the Lion King for using that name for the lion, it's kind of ridiculous. But I mean, it was kind of a one-time thing though with that, and those things kind of happen all the time, randomly in stupid court systems, as happening right now with majors. I remember there was this old lady who some Girl Scouts rain on her door and almost gave her a heart attack, and she sued them over that and won, which is ridiculous. It's why have a fucking doorbell then? But I'm sure if it a similar case happened today,
it came with the house.
Do you know how loud they rang it?
Yeah, no clue, but yeah, that's just hilarious. But
how many times? It was 2 a.m.
Yeah, I'm sure out of every 10,000 cases like that, there's going to be one winner. So I mean, 99% of the time, it wouldn't. They would probably lose the case. But so yeah, I mean, it's weird.
And that one seems a little bit more straightforward because it's the actual name, but this, I don't know. It seems like they're doing a satire of it. It would be that calling it Tommy instead of calling it Tony. It's not dead on. Because I'm assuming you're talking about now I can't think of his name, but the dude with the Florida Joker guy, right? Is he the one?
Yes.
Bringing the suit.
It is Florida.
I don't know, because didn't Didn't Lindsay Lohan
suing.
try this back on like 5 or something like that, or was it 4? I swear she also tried to do it, and anyway, she lost for the whole like satire thing. Like it's just a attractive female. It's not Lindsay Lohan on
Yeah.
the cover of
I
it.
think when it comes to satire, you have to take into account a couple of different things. If the judge is leaning your way, then you have a shot at it. And that's for both the defense and
Yeah,
the
Vice City, you're
front.
totally
Yeah.
right.
So, but let's take a look at Florida man plead his case in the court of public opinion.
Everybody's saying that I'm hallucinating, that I'm not the Joker from GTA 6. Chill out your goddamn nuggets. That's me. That's the person that got the inspiration from. You see that? That's me. That's me. That's me. GTA, we gotta talk, GTA. We gotta talk. Or not, you gotta give me like a meal or two. So what's up? Holler at me, GTA, Rockstar Entertainment, Rockstar Games, Rockstar Enterprise. Florida Joker ain't having that. Y'all took my likeness. Y'all took my life.
Seeing as how he's arguing that they took his likeness, and there's this big hullabaloo over simulated actors, and there was a whole strike about using actors' likenesses without their permission. If he gets the right judge that leans that particular way, less likely in Florida. Florida don't like frivolous suits. They don't like Florida man either. But if he does, there's one or two in there.
I just want to say this is ridiculous. That's it. This is just utterly ridiculous. That's all I got to say.
I mean, you just have to read Florida Man, and then you're done, and just stop the case there.
It just, I don't know. It seems like it's cut and dry satire to me, but I don't know.
It's completely different anyway. The hair is different, the tattoos are different, the bone structure and face is different. Like, sure, there's similarities. It's obviously like off of. Also, yeah, I'm suing for this now. So yeah, I'm going to take them to court. But yeah,
does he own like face tats and
no? It's like
the tattoo artists own their the copyright of that. This tattoo art has been settled in court. The tattoo artists own the art, so even if they do like say wrestlers in toys, they have to change the tattoo art on them because the artists own that. So the tattoos are never going to look exactly the same. But that bone structure, that face structure, even if you're saying, "Hey, look, we're just having fun. We're making fun of this is humor. This is this is what this is not like a documentary video game, which would be awesome. Be awesome to have a documentary.
I mean, it is basically, but
But I think I think Rockstar Games put themselves in this position, if that makes any sense.
It definitely seems like that's all this trailer was just kind of references to, memes and random pop culture stuff. So yeah, I agree with you. It really does seem like they just, made their own grave. But I don't know. I hope they get a favorable jury because it definitely seems like it's the idea and like the definition of satire.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like the idea that took inspiration. Like, it's completely different still for the most part. Like, that like for all we know, they could have also taken inspiration from people like 6ix9ine as well for that design. Like many people that kind of just like looked like that and just like kind of made their own version in that world, since people like that like that Florida man exists, and just they made their own version with like NPCs in there. That's all. Well,
he calls himself Florida Joker. People know him as Florida Joker. He's been in the news as Florida Joker. He's been on TV as Florida Joker. He can argue the fact that he is a public personality and that he has an identity that needs to be protected. So, whether it's satire or not, you can poke fun of some people. You can't poke fun of everybody. And, so I don't think he's going to actually get anything. I don't think he's actually going to go to court. I don't think he's actually going to sue, because most people who know how to do that, it's their lawyers who are talking first before them. he's posting on what was that, TikTok? Hit me up with a couple of million. So he doesn't know what he's doing. He's he's already ruined his case by speaking up. Because they're going to, if he finally gets a lawyer, they're going to settle for 2. Rockstar Games will settle for 2. That's marketing budget right there. That's not anything. That's nothing. They're not going to sneeze at that, and they will get all of the rights to their version of Florida Man. They may even get to call him Florida Man, and no real lawyer is going to take that because there's not any money to be made off of 2. So, he shot himself in the foot by not going to a lawyer first. Anybody else?
Just ridiculous.
Yeah. Nothing really more to say from me.
Okay, well let's talk about A24 then. I know you like to talk about A24 there, Cole. Did you know they acquired a Johnson?
Yeah.
Excited.
I don't know how many Johnsons there are in Hollywood, but I forgot. But
I'm concerned.
It
depends on how they're used.
Yeah, I think this is a good thing, though. Like, I mean, I guess you can first, say what you mean by this if nobody heard the news.
Well, Dwayne Johnson has signed on to play MMA pioneer and UFC champ Mark Kerr in Benny Safdie's The Smashing Machine, along with A24. The Rock's company is going to be co-producing it, along with A24. So the movie which the studio is producing and financing puts them back in business with Benny Safdie, who co-directed and co-wrote one of their big hits, Uncut Gems. Do this real quick. That's too small. I'm blind. Johnson and Safdie have been collaborators on the project since Johnson's $7 Productions acquired the rights in 2019. He takes a while to make a picture. The pick will follow Kerr's struggle with addiction, winning, love, and friendship in the year 2000.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of surprised that he isn't, I think up until now, Benny has always, directed these films with his brother, the Safdie brothers. So this is, I guess, the kind of the first away from him. Yeah. So but I mean, he's been kind of doing his own thing a bit recently to an extent. Like, he's been acting in a lot of films as well, supporting characters. So I suppose this sort of makes sense. But
it's like breaking up a duo, man. I mean, his brother's got to be sad.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Coen brothers also kind of broke up. They've been doing their own films separately as well. But
didn't they become sisters? No, that was the Wachowskis.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
but here's your A24 title: Friendship in the Year 2000, or Love and Friendship in the Year 2000. That's your A24 title right there.
Well, the weird thing is they're using the same title from the documentary, aren't they? Wasn't the Smashing Machine the same one that this is all kind of based off?
I mean, is it a nickname for the Money Machine because that's what they brought him in for?
Who knows?
Fair enough.
Good morning, Andrew.
Yeah, no, I think this is a good thing though for both sides. Honestly, I'm not saying Dwayne Johnson has never been the greatest actor, obviously, if not a good actor in general. But when he tries and when he removes his damn ego and actually tries a bit to play a real character in a film, such as like Jungle Cruise or Pain and Gain and other things, and tries to be more genuine.
Let me repeat this line. Johnson and Safdie have been collaborators on the project since Johnson's $7 Productions. 2019, they acquired the rights. It is now the end of 2023, and because of Johnson's interference in this particular project, it just gets announced. Okay, he did the same thing with Black Adam. He got all up in that, and then he made them bend to his will and tried to create his own Black Adam universe inside of Warner Brothers. And oh, look, the sausage party's over. Hey, 76.
Good morning, everyone.
Hey.
Glad to have you. We're talking about A24 acquiring a Johnson.
You got call for this?
Finally.
So let's take a look here at the guy that he's going to be playing and the guy that's playing him right there. So that's The Rock now, and that's Kerr back then. Okay, Kurt don't look like that now. He looks more like me now. So The Rock wouldn't be playing him as me now. He'd be playing him as him then, if that makes
Yeah,
any sense.
I mean, he looked more like him, in his younger years in WWE, but
Yeah, but he also looks older than him by
For
20
sure.
years.
Yeah.
So
I was gonna say, like, when he is portraying Kerr, though, Kerr is supposed to be much younger than he actually is in real life, than The Rock is.
yeah, and
That's gonna be interesting.
their tattoos are going to be different, so they're going to have to Hercules him.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to do a lot of body paint, but
yeah. I mean, they're
Interesting.
used to that. There's a lot of celebrities where they have to like cover it up, but yeah, I mean, again, I'm not saying there isn't like interference, obviously, or he, hasn't had control because of his name and everything, but I feel like after Black Adam, he took a bit of a hit, and that's also why he kind of returned to Fast and Furious. So, and I think, and also now since it's being announced, like right now, I think he's more leaning back a bit. Like obviously, he still has some of that control, might have some of that ego, but I think he's leaning back a bit, at least like enough, where because he can be a solid actor and everything. If he just like holds back on that a bit, as he's shown in other films. And I think with this specific role, he'll really try to push himself with that, sort of like what Shannon Tatum did in Foxcatcher, especially with a similar type of role. And I mean, the Safdie brothers, well, it's just one now, but I mean, they haven't really missed on a film yet. Good Time and
Yeah,
Uncut
but did they
Gems.
get the good brother?
Great.
That's the point.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I don't know who was mainly behind the direction, but I'd say if we're talking about overall, yes, they did got the better one, but yeah, they have yet to really miss. Both of those films are pretty damn great, but also they were made for pretty cheap. Good Time was only made for like 2 or 3 million, and Uncut Gems was made for around 17 million. So they
Yeah,
probably
but
cost.
here's the
like-
thing about here's the thing about The Rock versus say an Adam Sandler or an Eddie Murphy or somebody who's trying to come from one career to another. The Rock has yet to display vulnerability in the same way that the others have been able to do so in a project. Okay, you talk about Magic Mike, right? That guy, I forgot his name.
Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum. That man is willing to put himself in ridiculous positions in order to tell the story. He has no shame, has zero shame. Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love was able to show sides of him that nobody had ever seen before. And the vulnerability that he was able to display was something nobody had ever seen out of him. The same thing with Eddie Murphy in something like, what was that movie?
Dolomite or
The Nutty Professor, when he was in the fat suit. The vulnerability he shared in those sequences made you feel for that particular character. And then the other character was just Eddie Murphy. So, the thing is that you've got to be able to do that. He had that opportunity in Black Adam to do something different, but no, he wanted to play the anti-hero. He didn't want to be the villain.
He
that
wouldn't even
Black
just
Adam
put,
is.
prosthetic ears at the least. Like he wouldn't do any of that. He just
No.
His ego was too big. Like there's only really been one film to date, I think, where he did a bit of that. But again, maybe now with like after Black Adam's hit, and also with a lot of people wanting to work with the Safdie brothers and what they've done with Robert Pattinson and Adam Sandler in their films, maybe he'll finally do that a bit. Like I'm not saying he will completely. He'll still probably keep some of that, but enough where it doesn't drag down the film. He at least is like competent in it. It doesn't ruin the film.
I mean, there's like glimpses of him kind of going there. You mentioned like Pain and Gain. Like, I'm not saying that's a great film or anything like that, or they actually get to that level, but I don't know. Like, he doesn't. In that one, it's not like he was necessarily concerned with his image as much as it sounds like he did with Black Adam. So I don't know. Maybe there is a way that he could get down to that place. I hope so. Because this is really interesting and it goes pretty dark as far as the actual documentary it's based on.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing is that he falls completely down. He hits the gutter as fast as anybody can. But if you look at the whole thing there, right there, just below them, winning love and friendship in the year 2000. It's going to have a happy little ending, which.
Well, I mean, the documentary kind of does. Yeah, I mean, like, I don't know. It's not a complete downer story, so I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I
But,
think we'll definitely
it is
keep
an
a lot
interesting
of that in it still, because the Safdie brothers films are always like pretty down, and they're always about just like addicts who just keep making their lives even worse. So I think they'll have a bunch of that still, but have more of a happy ending, and so people show up, at the box office, which they will anyway, probably with Dwayne Johnson's name.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, they probably cost a lot, for this project, but since it's also his production company, probably not as much, or it was mostly their side, but also with how cheap their films have been, to make, the Safdie brothers, I think they'll be fine on that front. I think maybe max will be like around 100 million, like at most, probably even less. So I think will be
That's
good at
the thing
the
about his company. The
I mean-
Box Company does a lot of marketing, and if he's behind this project, his company will definitely bring the marketing game that A24 has been desperately seeking.
Yeah, like I don't think the budget will be high. I think it's just going to be the marketing budget that will be super high.
76. How do you feel about them abs?
I don't know these. I mean, I know Dwayne Rock Johnson, but I don't know this other dude. Who is that?
Oh, that's
Is
the
that
guy who's playing.
Okay.
That's the guy he's playing
Yeah,
in the
so
movie.
yeah, it's I believe Michael Kerr, but he
I
was a
know. For
UFC
some reason,
fighter in the early 2000s.
I don't know why, but they look fake to me. I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying there's
They're
something
not
weird.
actually holding each other in that picture. It is that's probably what you're catching on. But I mean, if you're calling them both fakes, I don't know. People have made those allegations before.
Well, I'm not saying they're fake, but it's like fake boobs. You can kind of tell a difference. I guess there's like something that's like off about it that's bothering me, and I don't know if it's just because it's like not humanly normal to be that stacked, so maybe that's why it bothers me, or maybe I just like guys with more like padding. I don't know. I don't care.
So you're making accusations that they might be enhanced. Wow.
Little
Wow.
roid action going on.
Well, I mean, I'm sure the person on the
Controversial.
left was a bit that during that time, as they all kind of were, but Dwayne Johnson.
But you're thinking the person on the right is just 100% natural.
I mean, in the past, I thought he was definitely.
Why does it look off? Is he old now? Is that it? Am I just like...
I can't really hear you.
Oh, can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah.
Okay. I'm saying I don't know.
You gotta stop shaking your head when you're going off, because then you get away from the microphone. And just...
Let me see. Maybe because no one likes it when I put it on the other one where it's like the mic is right next to me. Everyone goes, "Oh, it robots too much, Cole." So I'm like trying to try out a new way.
Well, I'm sorry I cut this. I cropped this a little too short. We might have been able to get the answer about the roids. That's a dick joke.
I think fair enough.
Yeah, I mean, look, when it comes to in the past and in like 2010 or 2011, I thought he definitely was, seeing him get to that level. But, people can get to that level naturally. It's super, super hard though. But I feel like with what Dwayne Johnson has, what he does, I can see it. Like I know Batista, his muscles are natural too, despite getting to that level. So
I'm not trying to insult the poor guy. I'm just, maybe it's just like, abnormally large boobs where there's just something that feels off about it because, like you said, it's just abnormal, but it doesn't mean that it's like actually enhanced, if that makes sense.
Well, he could have been lactating. Johnson is represented by WME in this particular endeavor, and so is Safdie. So I think that's probably what triggered full motion on this particular project. So it's good to see that they're represented by the same people in the back. So a lot of people have faith in this particular project, it seems. So it might be better than I expect, but who knows? It is still A24.
What do you mean? They haven't missed, right?
Warren, what do you think? Thank you for such colorful commentary.
Speechless.
just so he's just so concise. It's hard to.
It's appreciated.
Yeah. Hey, Pixar is taking films from the small screen to the big screen. Have you heard that? It's a new strategy from Pixar to lose more money.
Yeah.
Huh. So does that mean like bringing back classic ones, or
No, that'd be a smart idea.
I gotcha.
These films
Okay,
were
I was gonna
released
say,
on streaming due to the pandemic and didn't get a proper theater release, even though they were promised proper theater releases. So these movies will be released in theaters for a special theatrical engagement in February. And it gives me it's Morbin time vibes, this whole situation. I don't think they're going to make a whole lot of money.
Well, I mean, I think Soul was enough of a hit where they will, and a lot of people want to see it in theaters or maybe haven't yet. There's a lot of animated films they kind of re-release when there's not as many coming out for kids, and they usually bring in a decent profit. I mean, I don't know about the other two because they weren't received that well to begin with. But I mean, it may just be good for like drive-in theaters. I don't know.
I think Luca would probably do good. Luca, if they brought it out during the summer. Well, Luca was cute for the kids.
I think Luca had shades of their particular style of storytelling in it, where they were trying to push a specific narrative that had nothing to do with the subject of the story, which is little boy mermaids.
Yeah.
Okay, so for Luca, I gotta defend this one. It actually was just weirdos saying that kind of crap, because the director and the man who wrote the guy who wrote this and came up with this, it's based off of his childhood, his friendship with a child, and he got really mad when people were alluding to it being anything more than a friendship, because he was like, no, this is actually based off of, mine and my childhood friendship that I had. So it's just weirdos being weirdos again and trying to take everything like they do because they're weirdos. And I'm keeping it light and clean for this
kids
channel.
Do experiment.
But that wasn't what it was about, though.
Able to identify with it. Yeah, it just seemed like being different. It doesn't necessarily. Yeah. I get what people are saying about it. Like you could read that.
Yeah,
into
I mean,
if you
want to take that out of it, I mean, that's fine. But I don't think
it's on you. You can't. If you take it out of it, that's on you. But you can't say that was what it was meant to be. And I think that's the difference. Is he did not say that, which is why it's like one of the few movies.
That's like a lot of people who say things like, hey, everybody should join NAMBLA. Joking. I'm just joking. It's a joke. And then, they try to play it off as something else. Maybe he made this film the way he made this film and is now backing off of that particular thing, saying, no, that's not my intention at all.
No, because he did it when it was getting praised for that. He stood out when it was getting praised for it. So that's why it's not that, because when it was getting praised for it, he put his foot down, which could have got him in trouble for doing that. So that's why.
Yeah, I haven't heard him actually say that like it was this message, so it doesn't seem like he's backing from it. But
yeah,
I don't know. Others have definitely put that on it.
But they're weirdos.
Not sure.
So.
Like the like
fair enough.
What's the guy's name?
Like MSK, I just see him saying something stupid like that.
No. I'm talking about
take everything that guy says with a grain of salt.
Yeah. And of course, Turning Red is for little girls only. Period.
Oh, that actually was stated that's
like
what
I also hear a lot of people saying that too, but I mean, like it's basically the Teen Wolf story. Like I don't know, I enjoyed that. I was able to identify with
feminine hygiene products.
I mean, they actually have feminine hygiene products in the movie.
There were none.
Yeah, they do for one scene. Yeah, but I mean, like, I don't know. Like I get what you're saying, but it's like then okay, so then is Teen Wolf just alluding to like men's maturity, men's maturation process? Like I don't think we're putting those things on there. I don't know. I think you can definitely read into it that same way, but it's like almost beat for beat.
Put it this way, I would say that no, with the like you said with the Teen Wolf, no, that's different. But I would say with these idiots flat out came out and said that, oh, it's supposed to be about that. So when you come out and say it's supposed to be about that, which is stupid, because how do you have something that's supposed to be, what's the word for it, like a metaphor for something, but then you also come out and say it within the movie that, oh yeah, by the way, it's also this. It's like, well, are you guys insane? That's not what a metaphor is. You shouldn't have had this part. And then obviously some of the stuff that is said during the movie is heavily alluded to, like, oh, I thought I had more time to explain this to you. You're so young. It doesn't, you know.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just not like literally every girl does this. It's like she is special. She is like,
well, yeah, exactly.
werewolf or whatever. But I get it.
Yeah.
I just think it's not the greatest allusion to
Yeah,
it.
well,
It just
Pixar
feels like
just
it's
sucks at writing and being subtle with their messages, and this is just another case.
fair enough.
I mean, this and Luca just uninspired for the most part. You know, generic
First off,
manipulative.
Cole, I'll
Pixar
cut you for sticking
I
Luca
like
in the
both of
same
them.
movie.
But they
Okay,
they
I'll
don't
cut
feel
you
like
right
they're
now.
the same
Hey,
tier.
did you like
as,
the
No,
Canadian references
Turning Red sucked. Luca was cute. What Canadian references?
in Turning Red? Come on, you didn't like those Canadian references?
I hated Turning Red. I thought it was a terrible movie. I don't let the kids watch it because it's stupid and the kids are brats in it. And I hate when like movies have kids that are like huge brats because then the kids like try to emulate that behavior. That was a dumb movie.
I thought I was gonna hate it. I went in kind of primed to hate it again, and I don't know. I went into it because I went on a date to it, and she was more interested in it, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. So I don't know. I just figured it was like the female Teen Wolf, but
I mean, I enjoyed
I don't know.
it
I was
more than
expecting to
Luca.
really hate that.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
the Teen Wolf was aimed at a different audience, and I think
Cole,
that's
you like
probably
A24
more
movies. You think your opinion really matters that much?
Yes, it
They've got
does.
some gems.
No, you're
Yeah.
They've got some real uncut gems over there.
A24 is
Ray,
great.
you're
It's really
breaking my
uncut.
heart right now.
Listen, I'm sorry. Turning Red I thought was better. It wasn't great either. It was just okay to me, but
And this
I
is why,
only-
Cole, you're not allowed to. This is
I
why
missed out.
Rosales is allowed to pick movies during movie night, but
I'm
you're
sorry.
not.
Luca was so lifeless. It was just so generic. At least
You
Turning
like the
Red did
Barbie movie.
something.
You think you have a right to say anything.
I missed
Hey,
out
Barbie was based.
on. So Pixar is doing what? Because I had an important emergency phone call. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Tech support is very important. I made everybody mad by talking about these movies.
They're finally getting theater releases. Finally.
Yeah,
Really?
just need Song of the South next.
Why?
Oh, that brave rabbit gonna get himself in trouble this
completism.
time.
I mean, I don't.
They found that there were some areas that were dangerously undermonetized. So,
I mean, I
they're
like
going to take
Pixar.
advantage of that.
I like Pixar, but why?
For sure.
It's another way to lose money. That's what Disney's all about right now. is losing money.
You like Pixar, Warren? Name me one film in like the last 10 or so years that was good by them besides Coco and Soul.
Soul wasn't that great.
Zootopia.
Yes,
That wasn't even them.
I think that's I was going to say, isn't that the other company?
Yeah.
Oh, that's DreamWorks.
Yeah.
Wait, Zootopia is part of. No, wait, hold on. Zootopia is not
Wait,
DreamWorks.
wait. His favorite Pixar movie is a DreamWorks film. I love it.
Yeah, I mean,
Wait, hold
I
on.
don't
Did
know
it
if it's
start at the
DreamWorks.
DreamWorks
What was
film?
I thought it was just Disney
What was the one with
animated.
the emotions?
Hold on. Now I'm actually curious. Did Zootopia start as like a DreamWorks and then
I thought
Disney
it was
bought
just
the rights?
Disney. Yeah, I thought it was just Disney animated. I didn't realize DreamWorks was a part of it.
Yeah, that's what's confusing me too. So who had the rights to it first? And how did?
Who had the
Yeah,
rights
I
to
don't know.
DreamWorks?
Are you guys? No, Zootopia. Are you guys messing with me? Because I know it's a Disney thing because they have it at Disneyland. So now I'm sitting here kind of going, did they buy the rights to it or what happened?
They buy a lot of
Let's
rights.
see.
No,
I don't
hold on.
think they did. It just says Walt Disney Animation Studios. I mean,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So it's Walt Disney's then. Because, okay, this is what's stupid is Pixar and Walt Disney are two different studios. I hate that because it's the same company essentially. They bought Pixar, so then how can you say it's like?
Well, don't worry. It's in the same bank account. They don't split the ledgers up. They don't have separate accounts for anything. It all goes into the Disney bank accounts, and then they get to say who did what and what went where and whether anything was a success or not. It's all coming out in the Reedy Creek investigation when they did the auditing on that. They were using Reedy Creek money to build private facilities and selling bonds that should have been municipal bonds to do that and having the taxpayers pay for it. So, it's all one company until they need to sell part of it. Like when they finally sell ABC and ESPN later in the year to buy Hulu.
yeah. And then they'll just close down their
But-
studios later on and just absorb their IPs, right?
Well, they'll take Hulu and all of its properties and everything that's there and then blend it into Disney Plus, and then within a year or two get rid of the Hulu branding, and they've successfully stolen the clientele of another company. And that's the reason they're paying so much money out the nose to get that third bit of Hulu from Universal Studios, who's taking that money that they're getting for Hulu and building more theme parks all across the United States and Europe. So it's very, the whole thing is very ludicrous. It really is, because you've got also the stock fight that's going to be going on, and the that whole thing. So maybe before 2025, you'll have this whole new board, and Iger will be out, and Disney will be changing its complete direction 100%. So it'll be interesting. It's going to be an interesting year for Disney. But
Yeah, and Pixar are hacks now. All right.
But what won't be interesting is the box office for the shows that'll be coming out in January.
I mean, I think it could do well,
February
like
9th.
decent enough. We'll see. I mean, whatever. They're hacks. All right. Their last amazing film, in my opinion, was Wall-E, and
Oh, that
then
was
they've
awesome.
just
Molly was cute.
Whenever
Yeah,
Gray looks up
I
stuff,
don't
it
know,
looks like
man.
he's wearing VR headset, because
You know,
his
that's like
eyes
the
disappear behind the microphone.
that was what was weird, is that they never incorporated Wally into DCA, which is, for anybody who doesn't know, Disney California Adventures. They should have really put Wally in. I mean, they're putting every other stupid thing that's Pixar related in there.
yeah, they could at least
I don't know,
you
there's
know
been some
put a
cool
statue or
stuff.
cameo there.
Yeah, like a ride.
You're mentioning like since Wall-E, and you were saying like in the last 10 years there hasn't been anything good, but like I don't know, Inside Out wasn't horrible. Like Incredibles 2, Toy Story 4.
I mean, like the last like
I
great
liked
one.
Onward, but I can see how a lot of people.
Well, I would
wouldn't.
say the
But,
last great
it does
one,
feel like
though,
those aren't
great.
fair enough. It feels like they're not on the same tier. But
Yeah.
I don't know. They've had some good stuff in the last 10 years. Just like the last 4 or 5 weren't like the
Yeah, I mean,
greatest.
they've
it
had
looks like to me,
good
but-
stuff. Like, yeah, Inside Out was good despite its blatant issues. You know, when Soul was good, but
You
It's-
judge too harshly, Cole. You are like the harshest judger.
you have to be harsh with these
Well, he
bad
is a critic.
films, all right? But yeah,
It's not a
I
bad
mean,
film, though. You're a bad man.
yeah, I'm sorry. It's like it's just
She's got a point.
they've just been doing the same formula over and over again in the same twist, and it's just same thing with Disney Animation Studios, and it's run its course like 15 years ago. They haven't really made anything great since then, and no, Frozen was not great. All right, screw that film.
You know, you watch it enough times, and then suddenly it's not as bad.
Yeah, it's okay. You know, the main thing I don't get is the praise with the music. I mean, the music's good, but it isn't that good to me. And the song that won all those awards was like their worst in the film. It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
It's just
actually,
because
their second movie was much better with music.
well, their second movie was them not coming up with any ideas, but needing to milk the franchise.
I don't know. The kids like it. That's all they want to watch now is Frozen. I think maybe I've been brainwashed into liking Frozen since I've watched it, I don't know, 3 times.
You need to get them off of that and, you know, show them Watership Down.
We need to take a
What's wrong
moment
with you,
to
Cole?
relish in the fact that somebody agrees with Cole. So Michael says
Oh,
Cole's not
wow.
wrong, though.
Well, I guess Michael wants to be a bad person too then.
He is probably to your book already.
And Michael says, I worked at Walmart when Frozen released. I got to stop this from looping. Darn it. I worked at Walmart when Frozen was released, and I was in the electronics department for a bit. I had to listen to those songs every day.
I'm sorry, do you need therapy, Michael? We can, you know, give you some.
If he does need therapy, it explains why he agrees with you. Now, Brian wants to know.
Yeah. Oh, those songs never bothered me anyway.
Brian wants to know what the Indiana Jones thing was. So let's switch to that, and we'll see what we got here. There it is. Boom. And here we go. Blind. Okay, Indiana Jones rumors. Right. There was a lot of people that had rumors, and apparently it was confirmed that those were right. And James Mangold, who was saying that everybody was a liar, including people like Harrison Ford and the composer John Williams, he basically said they were wrong about all the things they were saying, that they were reshooting endings, that they were revamping the stories, and all of these scoopers out there that we didn't cover at the time. Turns out they were right. So you recall the controversy, as rumors offered, that test
I had
screenings
heard
were
them
held.
at the time, and I was hoping that wasn't the case, and then it turned out not to be. So I thought they were just wrong. But wow, this is kind of interesting.
Mm-hmm. The endings are said to have included Phoebe Waller-Bridge replacing Harrison Ford at the request of Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy. The worst ending is said to have taken place in the 1930s. A young Indiana Jones sacrifices himself to save Helena, causing old Indy to fade away. Helena picks up the wisp, dons the fedora, and becomes the new Indiana Jones. And the classic John Williams music score hits. The leaks
Yeah.
also said that a significant portion of the film took place in the 1930s. So, says here,
Did anybody see that movie by chance?
Yeah, sadly.
I couldn't finish it, but let's let the experts speak.
It was pretty bad. It was as bad as Crystal Skull, if not a bit worse. Just the most lifeless film ever. I have no issue with them, passing the torch to someone in like a female explorer character. That's fine. Just you couldn't have picked a worse actress for that role if you tried.
But she's in everything. She's everywhere.
She's ruining everything with her writing, that's for sure.
She was
don't you like strong, empowered women?
She was a strong, empowered robot that was calling for robot rights in Solo.
God damn, it is so painful. God, it's like she did one, not even great, but just solid thing with that Fleabag show, and then ever since then, she's just been ruining everything. Perfect.
She's Fleabag, according to Kathleen Kennedy. According to South Park, if you want to take this as true and factual and not satire at all, according to South Park, Kathleen Kennedy wants to put a chick in it, make her gay and lame. And that's what happened in Indiana Jones. When I came onto the movie, they had been playing with a bunch of different things, which were basically just redos of what had happened in the first movie. Just more apparitions and ghosts. And I felt like I was just watching the first movie over again when I envisioned what was in the existing script. Now, that's the one by Stephen King and George Lucas and those guys, Larry Kasdan, and the whole thing. They wrote a script where Indiana and his wife, their son, or Short Round go on some grand adventure for one last time and wrap the story up and pass the thing along, which I think if they passed it along to Short Round, that would have been good. What's his name? Just Do It didn't want to come back to the franchise after the Crystal Skull.
No, LaBouffe. Yeah, they had to make real clear that Mutt got killed off.
Yeah.
They do make that very clear in the film.
LaBouffe went poof.
Yeah. Indeed.
So, they wanted to deconstruct everything, and, that deconstructionist idea of taking something everybody loves and turning it into something everybody hates is what they do at Lucasfilms.
Are you not a fan of that, Rosales?
Taking something everybody loves and turning it into something everybody hates?
Yeah, it seems to be the new style today.
No, not a fan of that. No. The movie is exploring the themes of time, past, and present. There's your time travel. That became my central idea, which is why the movie opens in the past. In other iterations, went back there at the end. So he admits it, see, that they were going back in time to get rid of Indiana Jones. When we did start writing, it was my theory that at first, that we would end up back in Nazi Germany in 1938. What a joy this man is to work with. Mangold also confirmed an ending had the older Indiana Jones returning to the time of the younger Indiana Jones from the start of the movie again, just as the leak said. So
Mhm.
I felt we needed something more shocking, something bolder, something that also affected Indy. If he had gone back to Nazi Germany, he would simply be a hero trying to stop Voller from doing his plan. If he ended up there, where he does end up in the film, he was going to be facing bigger questions about his own life and what he studied all of his life. And I thought that was going to be more interesting. I thought it was interesting that Indiana Jones was pretty much an atheist, despite all of the miracles and magic and religious artifacts that he found, that he continued to be that even after he saw crystal skull aliens. And I thought that was going to be more interesting, is what he says. I left this in there because I wanted to say it. Doomcock was right.
Yeah, he was kind of the originator of that leak, from what I understand. But there were a few people who were trying to confirm it, and then just like, I don't know, it kind of went the way of the dodos, but some time travel was involved in the end product.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. It's just interesting. I thought maybe they were wrong, but this is really weird to hear the confirmation from Mangold himself.
I remember that episode of Doomcock too. Or what is that? Because his name is something. What is his name? I mean, I know that's what his name is, but he calls his channel something.
I don't know. I just wanted to say Doomcock.
Indeed. Don't we all?
It says here again, while James Mangold hasn't confirmed that Indiana Jones was going to get killed off and replaced, he does confirm the leaked story elements that Indy was going to go back in time. In the theatrical release, the end of the movie sees Indy time travel to the past with Helena to the siege of Syracuse in 212 BC. Is that true? Did that happen in the movie? I didn't get to the end.
Yeah, it is really bad. Instead of aliens this time, now they're going with time travel. And it gets really bad and convoluted at the end. But it's not directly what was told from Dune Cop. It's interesting. But yeah, she does get, she saves an 80-year-old by punching him. So yeah, it's assaulting an 80-year-old for good. That is, it is interesting. I don't like the choices that were made, but I'm so glad that I guess they were changed from the original, because I don't know. I'd have to think a young Indy sacrificing himself and thus wiping out the future Indy. I don't know. I can't see that working well. But man, they did Indy bad in this film as well. They kind of introduced him in the modern era by beating on his neighbor's door with a baseball bat to keep it down. That's just not how I want to see my Indiana Jones. Like, he shouldn't be that crotchety old man. I don't know. They did him dirty.
Yeah. And it says here at the final end of this the story, or where I stopped, also recall how following the leaks, James Mangold cursed out and harassed fans online, including YouTuber Doomcock, who now we know was right all along, and others. So that's how we almost got Indiana Jones and a whole new string of remake movies that would upend the apple cart for a whole new society. You know what? I can see, if you want to upend the apple cart for a new generation of people who are willing to watch it, then it's the right thing to do, because times do change. Audiences change. Filmmaking styles and techniques change. Storytelling changes. We no longer tell stories the same way Shakespeare told stories. And there is a place for Shakespearean told stories, but that's a niche, and maybe the Indiana Jones style of filmmaking needs to go to a niche of where it's supposed to be. However, the film that you are trying to make now needs to be good. It needs to be effective. It needs to grasp the audience and bring them in and turn it into a project that everybody can revolve around, not just hate on men for the sake of hating on men. Gray, you were going to say something?
No, I'm hoping that this and a few of the other recent, like Marvels and then Indiana Jones, maybe that's going to show them that, this pattern that they were going off of in the recent years, this kind of blueprint of just get some property that's really big and put millions and millions into it, and that's the only thing that can possibly be successful. Maybe this will shift it. Maybe we'll get some of those mid-budget movies again. That would be awesome. So, but maybe it's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
I don't
Well,
know.
I mean, I would like a Treasure Planet live action film, but
No,
that's
Let's bring back something else that wasn't successful.
That was a good movie, though.
yeah. Well, I'm saying out of all the live action ideas they have, that's one of the few where it actually could work if they tried.
No.
Because what the film
You know
has
what? You're just
areas-
being grumpy over there, Warren.
Yes, listen, there's areas you can actually improve on, unlike the others like The Lion King that were just pointless to do, and it actually works in live action. So.
Well, you know that live action Lion King is all computer graphics, so technically Treasure Planet is the live action version of it.
oh,
yeah, that's true.
I'm just saying no to Indiana Jones. That just sounds stupid. That's
Okay.
what I was saying no to.
Oh,
I thought you were being grumpy
No.
or hating on Cole, which I do approve of. Which does that put me in that category you said of man haters because I unnecessarily hate on Cole to hate on Cole?
That's okay. He doesn't count.
but
Love the snort. I love that I got the snort. That's my aim. That's my aim. Get the snort at least once during a stream.
That was a good one.
I get 3 or 4 of them. That's great. But oh well, I'll take what I can get.
So 3 or 4 would means you get like 4 stars from Roger Ebert.
Sir, go ahead, Warren.
Oh well, I know I haven't said much because I've just been so busy this morning than I thought, but I actually have to head out. I just want to say happy holidays to everybody. Thanks for this great year we've had, Rosales, all the game shows we've done at the end, and all the people that have been on and topics. It's been a great year because I know we're going to be on a few breaks for the few weeks. I just want to say my goodbyes because I have to head out now. To go to the city.
Bowling.
No, but you guys have a great day.
It is tournament weekend, though. You know, you don't want to miss out.
No, no, I don't. Have a great day.
Yeah.
And have a great 2024.
Thanks for being here,
Yeah.
Warren, in
you too, Warren.
2023. We
Yeah, it's been
hope
great
to see you
talking with you,
again
sir.
in 2014. Look forward to some great things. We got a show coming up, maybe the 7th or somewhere around there. That's when we're back after the holidays. And we'll get to do look forward ahead to the one Marvel movie coming out and what else is coming out from DC. And quite possibly the new blockbuster sensation making A24. See if their first crack at it with the Iron Claw does any damage to the box office. If they're able to crack $1 billion and see
Listen,
what
that
happens.
looks like a great film, but it's probably not going to make anything.
Alrighty, take care, all.
Take care.
Warren.
Will.
Sir.
Thanks for
Happy
being here.
holidays.
So I think that's all the topics I had, actually, too. Yeah. So 76. You got a couple of things happening this week. One of which is a review of the film Brazil.
Yes, and I think we moved that
Ooh, nice.
to Wednesdays now. So it'll be Wednesday at either 6 or 6:30 Pacific, depending on PM Pacific, depending on work.
Mhm.
And then then I think me and Cole have to do our vampire movies. When are we gonna do that, Cole? I forgot what day that was. That Thursdays?
I mean, we decided on like really any of those days: Thursdays, Fridays, Saturdays, just whatever works for you. That's fine.
Yeah. And then I think we're gonna have a stream probably, I don't know, maybe in like 40 or so minutes. We're gonna try to do a stream. It'll be a biotrans stream for anybody who's interested. If you want to know what that is, I'm not telling you on Rosales. I like to keep his like G-rated, PG-rated. So you'll have to go and you have to go find that one out for yourself.
We cut a little loose when you
Big
weren't
man.
here, so
Yeah. So you already used up the bonus time or the
yeah.
the edgy screen time.
And be sure again to head over to Chillmonger's YouTube channel or his Twitter stream, Chillmonger as well, so that you can get the latest on the Jonathan Majors. Kitty, who was not able to make it this morning, is probably going to be doing a review here, a book review, I think, or reading a book.
Yes. They're doing their read through on Mistborn. It's pretty awesome. I think it just premiered a few minutes ago, but yeah, check that out on her channel. Sorry, on the No One Asked You podcast channel.
Yes, follow No One Asked You. Go over there, take a listen, have a read. Maybe put the speakers up if you need to, and do some chores. I don't know. Enjoy it for what it is. Gray, what do you got going on?
Not much. You can find me on That Darn Kid Is channel every Thursday for the Thinkers. But other than that, I will have some videos eventually. They're taking longer than I thought, but yeah, random sometime in the future.
You want to be on the biotrans stream? You want to be biotrans for like, I don't know, the next couple hours?
I'm not sure what that is, so I don't know. Maybe I should find out what it is before I
can DM you. I guess.
Cole's biotrans.
Yeah, you have the hair for it, so you know.
I've been told that before. Interesting.
Oh, you said, is my favorite biotrans Ellie Cole gonna be? Yes, Cole's gonna be there.
Well, I share my computers with my son, so I don't look up anything like that.
Apparently, there's actually a company that like sells like mechanical parts, and so they got mad that they got lumped in with like the other, what would you call it, like the political side version of biotrans. Because they're like, hey, we just want to sell our mechanical parts. So if you look it up, you'll mostly just see like mechanical parts. So you have to come to the stream to find out what it is. I don't know, but it's something. And they like, I don't remember if they changed their name or they did something because they're like, we don't want to be associated with you.
When you say mechanical parts, is it something you strap on or what?
No, not those kind of mechanical parts, but like the boring kind, I guess. I know. I realized how that sounded when it came out. So we're just going to skip on past that statement and talk
would the $6 million man be considered a biotrans because he's got mechanical parts?
I think so. That works for me.
Because, again, I'm not looking it up. I made the mistake of looking up Animal. So.
No, come to my channel and get educated on it if anybody's curious.
So, yeah, at one point, my kids were watching Dora the Explorer, and there was a bad guy who was very, very flamboyant. He was flamboyant. That's all I'm going to say about that. He transformed into different animals. Okay, so he would transform into an animal, animal, and he would call out "Tranimal" whenever he did that. And he would get more boisterous as he did it. So he would start off kind of low and get kind of high afterwards. He'd be like, Tranimal, Tranimal, Tranimal. And he would change into a bird or a fox or whatever it was. And he'd go on about his business of being naughty. And then I decided, I thought to myself, well, you know what? Dora does do these things where they sometimes introduce some lore and history and things of that nature. Possibly there is a Tranimal in Mexican folklore and history. And so I decided I was going to look that up. And I did. And it's not. It is not folklore. It is not history. It is not anything child related either.
Don't do it. Don't do it.
Would not recommend.
However, the way he said it fit. So,
well, I guess we know what Cole's going to be looking up after the stream.
Yeah, Cole's already got a tab for it open. So
yeah, that's why I'm on mute. Sorry.
Oh my goodness. Furries need not worry. I'll tell you that. Anyway, let's end the year on a positive note because we're all done here. We're all done for 2023. We'll be back sober in 2024, hopefully. And we'll do this again.
I can't promise that, but you know.
No. I mean, if feds get you, they get you. That's always a chance.
I mean, I'll be there, but sober. Now you're kind of pushing things here.
It's like I didn't know I was supposed to be sober for this one.
Well, technically wasn't because I put booze in my coffee, but you know.
Yeah. But that's every morning. So
That's medicinal. That can't really count as being drunk, can it?
Yeah, I can't, but
That's the Bryce says, well, that sounds like an odd stream, but this one has been great. Have a good holiday and so on, folks. Well, that's great. We are going to have a good holiday.
Happy holidays.
Yes, happy Hanukkah, if that's what you do. I don't know how many candles you got left. Happy Merry Christmas. If you're on the other side of the pond, Happy Christmas. If you don't do Christmas, Happy Winter Solstice. If you're late to the game, Happy Kwanzaa, because that's going to start soon too. So everybody just enjoy yourselves is what I'm saying. Have yourself a great weekend, and we will end it the way this show started, being sexist.
Oh, girls just wanna have fun.
Move, bitch, get out the way. Get out the way, bitch, get out the way. Move, bitch, get out the way. Get out the way, bitch, get out the way.
What in the world?
Bitch, move.